Hirozaku Koreeda is one of the most well-known Japanese filmmakers today. His films are often characterized by their calmness, warmth, simplicity, and honest portrayal of characters and their dilemmas. In this video, we'll explore Koreeda's authorship by analyzing 3 of his films, 2 where he wrote the screenplay and 1 where he did not. First, we'll go through Monster, released in 2023. This film has garnered attention from a lot of audiences after it won the Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Screenplay. The film centers on Minato, a 5th grader whose peculiar behavior sets off a chain of events. Through the narrative, we witness the story unfold from 3 distinct perspectives: Minato's concerned mother, who seeks to understand his behavior; Hori, his teacher, who faces accusations; and ultimately from Minato himself, revealing the underlying issue: a complex relationship with his classmate Yori. The second film is Shoplifters, released in 2018, and winner of Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival. It follows a lower-class family living in Tokyo who rely on shoplifting to live. Their lives take a turn when they decide to shelter a neglected girl. However, there were already TV news broadcasts about this little girl having gone missing, and authorities are looking for her. Third, we'll delve into Nobody Knows, released in 2004. This film portrays the heartbreaking story of 4 siblings, Akira, Kyoko, Shigeru, and Yuki, who are left to fend for themselves after their mother abandons them in an apartment. When their money runs out, Akira, the oldest sibling, finds means to survive without power and water supply at home, and with the landlord asking for their rent. Through these films, we'll uncover what defines Koreeda as an auteur: his consistent thematic exploration, empathetic storytelling, and ability to capture the essence of everyday life. It is important to note that one of these films were not written by Koreeda himself. His most recent film, Monster, was written by Yuji Sakamoto. These 3 films were chosen to delve into Koreeda's authorship as they span various points in time and were released years apart. With that, we'll be able to look at different points in his career to gain insight. They also have the same themes and genres, which make it effective to spot similarities and contrasts. First of all, we need to set the presumptions of the theory. The author's theory treats the directors of the film in a way that they are the authors of the film. It argues that the film is a reflection of the director's vision. To really say that a filmmaker is an auteur, we need to look at 3 components. First is the technical competence. Auteurs must possess proficient filmmaking skills. This foundational requirement ensures that directors can effectively use film language to convey their artistic vision properly. Without technical mastery, a director cannot fully realize their creative ambitions. Second is distinguishable personality. Auteur directors are characterized by a distinctive and recognizable style that permeates their body of work. When we look at an auteur's filmmaker's works, there should be recurring themes, visual motives, narrative approaches, and storytelling techniques that are consistently present across their films. Third is personal influence. Central to auteur theory is the notion that a filmmaker's work reflects aspects of their personal experiences, beliefs, and worldview. This influences their films with depth and authenticity, creating a tension between the director and their films. It underscores the intimate connection between the director's inner life and the external expression of their cinematic artistry. By examining these 3 components, we can evaluate whether a filmmaker truly embodies the essence of an auteur. This framework not only acknowledges the director's role as the primary creative force behind the film, but also celebrates their unique contribution to the cinematic landscape. Before making the argument that Koreeda is in fact an auteur, we need to delve into the narrativity of the 4 films mentioned earlier. I'd like to say that all 4 films fall under art cinema narrative conventions. It all focuses on how the narrative is presented. The story logic, progress, and resolution are subordinate to the exploration of the character. In Monster, it's about Minato's exploration of his happiness. In Shoplifters, it's all about Shota's exploration of understanding the love of a family. In Nobody Knows, it's about Akira's exploration of his youth. The slow-paced story progression is also evident in all 3 films. Even in the ways that the films end, we have no solidified closed ending and are instead left to think. However, it can be observed from the 3 films that over time, Koreeda has improved in injecting some mainstream elements into his work. Instead of letting the audience be confused, he has learned to guide them through that confusion. I wouldn't call this a change in his style, but rather him maturing as a filmmaker. The use of causality is the most obvious way that Koreeda has used conventional mainstream elements, since it helps guide the viewer. When it comes to the mise-en-scène, all three films seem to have a natural and raw approach. Koreeda likes to put his characters in mundane settings or in their usual environment, and then reveal something about them through that. For instance, Monster uses the school for this, where Minato is seen doing questionable acts. He stands out in this environment because of that. Shoplifter uses the home of the family, where much is revealed about their situation. Nobody Knows also uses the apartment and the city to reveal the responsibility that Akira must take. He will then bring the characters to somewhere outside this environment. The abandoned train in Monster gave Minato and Yori a safe space, a different world where they could be themselves. The beach in Shoplifters revealed that this family is capable of having fun amidst the challenges they encounter. It showed another version of their true selves. And the school in Nobody Knows becomes a tool for Akira's longing in what children should really experience. Again, another revelation of his true self. This different world reveals something about the characters that will never be revealed in their usual environments. He also aimed for a natural look on his characters. Unless needed in the scene to portray a specific job or maybe a situation, the characters all seem natural. The scenes where they are eating reveal this. All films show that eating is not a perfect and clean process. The food gets all over their face or around their mouth. This is something natural. It may seem bothering, but this is Koreeda remaining true. The performances was also very natural in such a way that even without dialogues, they speak already about who they are. Koreeda's approach to lighting and cinematography in his films also emphasizes naturalism and a deep connection to the environment, enhancing the authenticity of his narratives. In scenes depicting characters moving through town or interacting with their surroundings, Koreeda opts for natural lighting to maintain a sense of realism. This choice underscores his commitment to capturing everyday moments with sincerity. Cinematographically, Koreeda then uses wide shots extensively to emphasize the importance of environment and space within his storytelling, as I mentioned earlier. These wide shots not only showcase the physical surroundings but also invite the viewers to immerse themselves in the setting that shaped these characters' lives. Aside from the wide shots, Koreeda uses close-ups a lot, more particularly close-ups of the hands. He uses touches to portray emotion. Touches are a form of interaction, and this creates incredible moments in films. In Monster, Yori touches Minato's hair. We could then see Minato react to a close-up of his hands as well. In Shoplifters, the scene where Yuri and Nobuya were taking a bath also used the aspect of touch. In Nobody Knows, a close-up of the hands was used to show the depth of one of the siblings, rather than showing the full body. Akira then responds and shows his love for his sister who passed away through this touch. Now, can we say that Koreeda is indeed an auteur? Let's go back to the three main components that we discussed earlier. Koreeda indeed has the necessary technical proficiency in making films. He shows adaptability with advancements in technology evident across his works. Whether it's handling natural lighting to enhance realism or utilizing long takes and wide shots to immerse viewers in the environment, Koreeda's technical expertise is consistently apparent. His ability to navigate and utilize filmmaking tools effectively underscores his proficiency as a director. Next, let's go into personal style. Koreeda's cinematic approach focuses on being natural. It aligns with Siegfried Kroscher's theories of cinematic realism, particularly focusing on the quotidien, the everyday, and refuse, rejecting idealization. The quotidien aspect is prominent in Koreeda's films where he portrays ordinary, everyday life with a keen attention to detail. This approach allows him to delve into the nuances of human relationships and societal dynamics. In Monster, for example, Koreeda uses the refuse to show that things are not the way we look at it. Minato might look like a 5th grader having tantrums, but behind that is a heavy emotional burden, him being confused with his emotions. This makes the teacher accuse him of bullying, and her mother accuse the teacher of hurting Minato. In Shoplifters, they all seem like an ordinary family and nobody knows that they live off shoplifting. They look like a happy family without anyone seeing that the young girl they are with is the one missing on the news. And Nobody Knows, from the title itself, nobody knows that Akira was left to care for his siblings. He just looks like a child roaming around the city and trying to earn money. Koreeda takes advantage of the things that we can't see over the things that we can see. And it is only later in his films that we realize that everything in the film has meaning. That we fail to see something, may it be unconsciously or purposefully. He also uses a lot of symbolisms in his film. One thing that stands out is the use of train. Nobody knows starts in a train and ends in a train. The main story of Monster happened in an abandoned train. And Shoplifters, the train was used to transport the family into another reality or into the reality that they are not familiar with. But it can be argued that the use of trains are Koreeda's technique and style. Trains symbolize a journey, similar to what the characters in the film are experiencing. Last is the filmmaker's personal influence or his worldview. First, Koreeda started in documentary filmmaking, which is why his films have a documentary-like observational approach. He does not dictate what the audience should feel. Rather, he makes them embrace every moment and decide for themselves. He does not tell us if this person is good or bad. He shows us that they are human. He never tells us that Minato's mother or his teacher is bad for not easily understanding him. He never tells us that Shota is bad for shoplifting or his father for teaching him how to shoplift. He never tells us that Akira was bad for burying his sister. He does not want us to hate the characters. He wants us to see them, to acknowledge them. And this is one of the most unique human experiences that Koreeda's film provides. In an interview, Koreeda mentioned that it's easy to paint people as evil, and the audience wants that, because it means that they have a source where they can place blame for the injustices in the world, and then they can dust their hands off, because then it's got nothing to do with them. I don't want the audience to be able to shrug off responsibility so easily, and a version of that idea has crossed over into much of my work. When asked where he draw inspiration, he answered, meeting people, talking to people, watching the news on TV. I tend to get most of my ideas while moving from one place to another, on a train or on a plane. Maybe this is the reason why trains are such important elements in his films. Now, does anything change between him being a writer for his film and not being a writer? I believe there is. Koreeda's work seemed to be more slow-paced and focused on observation. In films like Monster, where Koreeda directs but does not write the screenplay, there can be a noticeable shift in narrative structure and storytelling approach. Monster utilizes multiple perspectives to unravel its storyline, reminiscent of Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon, where there are different viewpoints. However, despite this difference, I wouldn't say that Monster does not reflect Koreeda as an auteur. I believe it even strengthens that. Koreeda shows that he can be an author with any material that he directs. His films all reflect that he knows what he is doing. His personal style is evident whether purposefully or not, and his internal experiences contribute to how his works end up.
Sake Dokoro Uedaの自販機でコーラ買ったことある？
あるよ。
あそこのコーラは3回に1回温かいコーラが出るよね。
嘘だよ。
麦野くんは出たことない？
あるよ。